I'm Roger with Synthesizers.com, and here's a tour of the Q156 VCA module, LFO module, mixer module, AC coupler module, comparator module. Okay, let's start with the top section of the Q156 module, which is the comparator function. And what this function does is very simple. It takes two inputs, a minus and a plus input, and it compares those two. And depending on which one is the highest, voltage-wise, produces an output. So if the plus input is higher than the minus input, then the output will be high, which is like a gate on 5 volts. If the minus input is higher than the plus input, then the output will be off, or 0 volts. And this output can be used to trigger a gate, or can be used as a clock pulse, but it can also be used as an audio source. And even though it's a gate, it can be passed through the AC coupler to give you an audio output where the DC offset is removed. So let's experiment here. Let's take the output of an oscillator and let's go into the comparator and let's look at the output of the comparator on an oscilloscope, and we can listen to it. So what we have is a ramp waveform coming in, but what's coming out is a square wave, and that's because the voltage is set at 0, and whenever the ramp waveform crosses that voltage threshold, it turns on. So we're going to change the threshold from the minus input, and we get what looks like pulse width modulation. It sounds just like it. So we can control this minus section up here with the LFO or with any other source. And that's just one use for the comparator. There are other uses, and those would include gating, a gate output with an LFO, and also some sequencer uses. Okay, now we're going to deal with the mixer and AC coupler section. And this is a pretty simple 2-input circuit. It's a passive circuit, so there's no power required. And what happens here is these two inputs are AC coupled to this output. So they can be used as a mixer, but it can also be used as an AC coupler to remove a DC offset from a signal. So like if you have a gate output that's moving real quick that you want to use as an audio signal, you can patch it into here and make it a better audio signal with that DC offset removed. This would also be helpful for the gate math module, where you're dividing a bunch of waveforms and you're getting a gate output and you want to make audio out of that. So let's do that here with, let's take a ramp input from our oscillator, and let's produce this square wave output, which we will look at. And notice this is a square wave output that goes from 0 to 5 volts. But that's not good for audio. We want something better than that. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the output going through the AC coupler. And now we have our AC signal. So this is a gate output that has been run through the AC coupler. And of course we can mix other signals. And these combinations give you all sorts of different harmonics that can be useful. Look at that. That's kind of cool. Okay, so let's move down to the LFO section. Now this is a typical LFO with a speed and a range switch, fast and slow. And the outputs are available simultaneously. There's a square wave output and a triangle wave output. So a typical patch would be, we'll take our pitch, voltage, and go into our oscillator, and we'll take a gate, go into an envelope generator, and we'll control a VCA. with that envelope generator. And the output of the VCA is what we'll listen to. Okay, and we'll deal with the rectangle output. So there's our output from our oscillator, no filtering, nothing. And we'll beef it up with a little LFO. So there we got an LFO, utility LFO that can be used for vibrato or tremolo, triggering envelopes, whatever you want to do with it. Let's trigger an envelope. Okay, the bottom section is real simple. It's a VCA, and we can use that here. We can go straight from our envelope generator, control voltage. We can take the output from our oscillator and go to the input, and there we go. Got a whole VCA right there. We need a gate. Simple VCA, but we need lots of them in most patches. So there we have it, an overview of the Q156 Comparator module. There are 4 sections: comparator, mixer, AC coupler, LFO, and a VCA. Enjoy.